Well, hey everyone, Athena Dean Holtz here, and this is Redeemed and Restored. Today you're going to meet a courageous woman whose life has been redeemed and restored. When I met her at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention a few months ago, I knew I needed to have her on the podcast so you could meet her. Dance educator and author Mary Bawden noticed a cultural shift around children's dance from healthy movement to harmful movement in adult costumes, choreography, and music. This realization birthed a mission to bring international awareness and education to stop the exploitation through hypersexualization of children in dance. You will not want to miss this conversation, so let's get this started. Well, Mary, it is such a delight to have you on the Redeemed and Restored broadcast and podcast. After meeting you at the National Religious Broadcasters, I am just so grateful that you had time today to be with us and to share your heart and your ministry because it is so important. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. Well, I would love to, because you've got a ministry that is really raising the red flags and saying, hey, we've got a problem here in the way that we are teaching our young women and young girls to dance. And so would you just provide some background on your own dance history and how you became interested in dance and kind of what your journey looked like?
Sure. I was a little girl that moved 6 times in my first 12 years. And
Wow.
all through that time, I begged my parents, oh, can I take dance? And by the time we moved to the new place, got the new school and the new doctor and the new church and all that stuff, there was no time for my parents to sign me up. But the day big came, and I was 11 years of age, and I started taking dance. And, it was everything I hoped it would be. That integration of mind, body, and spirit is God's idea.
Right.
And that's why I have a bias about the art of dance being the best, the absolute best educational tool for children, because we tend to compartmentalize ourselves, and God knows that's not a good plan. And so dance does it. And honestly, I led a dance ministry at my church for over 20 years, wrote a book on it. Wow. And I think when we honor the God with mind, body, and spirit, we're really in worship. And we're, of course, told that worship is a 24/7 entity.
Absolutely. So were you involved in ballet or what area?
I was highly trained in ballet in high school. And then after that, I went to the University of California at Riverside, got a degree in modern dance. And then later on, got a master's in worship with an emphasis in dance on behalf of my ministry and my own interest in worship.
So what led you to write a book about Christian dance ministry?
Well, I was led to write a book because I think sometimes we love to move ourselves, but if we're in a church service and people are watching us, they have to understand what we're doing. And so I'm kind of a conceptualist when it comes to choreography. If there's a song about mercy or love or forgiveness, I think in some fashion, the movement on stage should reflect that message. And what I see often is very good-hearted people who love to move, who are just moving, and the words of a song are talking about mercy or forgiveness or grace or whatever it might be. And the movement has nothing to do with that. And so then what happens is people don't get it. They don't get the art of dance, or they don't get why we're having dance in church. So I wrote the book to give people the tools to structure a dance program at their church so that it would communicate at whatever level movers they have. Sometimes people have low movement skills. That's fine. We can use the body as such a wonderful instrument in very simple ways to communicate a message. And we can use the body in more complex ways if you're trained like I was. You know what a batmatandu is and a plie is and that kind of thing. Right. Then you use those terms and you create the choreography to mesh with your training. But you should have a message. It shouldn't just be moving while a Christian song is playing.
I love that idea of connecting the message of the song with the actual dance that you're doing. That is so powerful.
Well, it's an educational base.
Yeah.
And I have a secondary teaching credential in the state of California. And I also taught on the community college level. So I'm kind of educationally focused. What's the point of people knowing about anything if you don't give them practical tools? And that could be in the kitchen with cooking or anything we're doing. And so in terms of faith, we want to help people get it, right? We don't want it to be abstract or something so hard. I know you focus on redemption. And of course, that's a beautiful, beautiful theme woven all through Scripture.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does dance stand for? And that's the name of your ministry. And I noticed there's a colon between the DA and the NCE. So tell us what it stands for and why you are the founder.
Well, dance stands for Dance Awareness, No Child Exploited. It's the acronym spelling that I just gave you. Okay. And there's a colon in the middle because we go Dance Awareness, No Child Exploited. Very clever, right? Mm-hmm. And so it makes it easy for people to remember and understand. And you just said, well, how did I get into this? Well, I'm a dance educator. I love dance. I was choreographing and leading a dance ministry in a church. My life has been changed and transformed by the integration of mind, body, and spirit into worship with Jesus. And I just began to see some things that were disturbing. Mm-hmm. It first started when a young woman who I choreographed in healthy dance at our church when she was littler invited me to a dance concert at her college dance concert presentation. So I went, I was all excited. And I went and I couldn't believe what I saw. A lot of hypersexualized dance and a lot of catcalls from men. Mm. And I thought, that's strange. Well, it's an aberration. Probably it'll never happen again, or this is just odd. But I went the next year and it was worse. Hooting and hollering. I'd never, ever experienced anything like that in my educational journey in dance. And so I thought to myself, these are young people over 18, and I can't really do anything about it because it disturbs me, but I can't do anything about it until I begin to see high school dance concerts of underage young people with the same material, junior high, elementary school, preschool. And honestly, it's gotten younger and younger and younger. And God began to speak to my heart. And I did a little checking and I saw that no one was speaking out. And I'll tell you, I really believe there's a lot of wonderful, caring adults out there, but they are very uninformed and uneducated about 3 words that are connected to dance. And those 3 words are the internet, the media, and the pornography industry. And they are making a lot of money off children and adults, but I'm circling my wagons around children. And just normalizing what is not normal. And a lot of adults just don't know how to speak to this issue. They know something's wrong. Many do, but because they don't have the tools, the research tools, people will say, oh, you're just old-fashioned. I think it's really cute. And they don't have anything to say. Or there's a group of adults that are pressuring dance educators like me to hypersexualize their kids because they've been trained and
Right.
groomed by media, pornography, and the internet, just like their kids are, to accept
Right.
it and think it's just fine. And folks, I'm here to tell you it's not just fine. All the research going way back when keeps coming out and showing us how this is destroying children.
Mm.
So it's a very important issue, and it certainly is not isolated to dance. A lot of people think, oh, if I just take my kids out of dance, that'll solve the issue. The problem is the research says whether a child does hypersexualize dance in adult costumes, choreography, and music, or they watch it, media, remember that word, media? So they see it on TV or in films, movies. They see it on this thing with their friends at school.
Right.
And so all kids are being exposed to adult sexual material, and it is reaping horrific consequences on our kids. It
And
messes up their ideas of relationships and sex as well, which is a beautiful gift from God. And cognitive advancement, academic performance, all kinds of things are happening to our young people. And I have to speak out about that.
yes. So I would guess that with young children, when they see that, they mimic it,
Oh yeah, and
right? So
oh
but they don't
yeah,
even realize what they're doing.
yeah, and the brain research is called mirror neurons, and it groups children as well as adults for unhealthy relationships. But we are wired by God to imitate what we see, and so if a little person sees hypersexualized material, um, and lyrics and costuming and all of the accoutrements that go with it, they want to copy that. I mean, that's just how we're wired, and so it's just gotten worse and worse. And I just saw a New York Times article that said CSAM, child sexual abuse material, went up 70% in 2021. 100,000 pieces of material of pornographic material having to do with children. So that's just in 2021. It was terrible in 2020. So you can see we have a big problem here of not only hypersexualized dance, but children watching it, and parents not being aware that even watching it really affects a child's development psychologically and their cognitive development brain-wise. So we have to step up to the plate
Yes.
and
In
do some
fact,
things and band together and make some change.
well, and I would think that watching it, maybe their parents aren't having them do put the makeup on and put the skimpy outfits and do the seductive dances. But if they're watching it, then it seems to me like they're being groomed
Oh yeah,
to
they are. They
for
are.
abuse, sexual abuse,
That's
and all
right.
of that down the road.
And you're right on point. A researcher named Philip Miller calls it corporate pedophilia, where we are grooming children for future abuse, and the pornography industry is making money off the kids.
Yep.
And so I often say to people, I was protected, you were protected. We have got to step up here and protect our kids. And of course, I also use the terms healthy and harmful dance, because actually the solution to harmful dance is healthy dance, because it's the integration of mind, body, and spirit into worship that God has ordained. And, people just are not aware of these issues. So as we define what is harmful dance, what is healthy dance, I think it helps them. And if you'd like me to, I can sure give you a simplified definition.
Let's do that.
Hey, and a lot of times people say, well, I don't have a dance background. I don't know how to tell if it's harmful dance or healthy dance. And so here you go, folks. In healthy dance, which equals educational dance, children look like children, dressed in age-appropriate costumes, choreography, and music, usually accompanied by a great sense of joy. In harmful dance, which equals hypersexualized dance, children look like adults and adult costumes, choreography, and music, usually accompanied by adult hairstyles and makeup. And then, of course, I should clarify that the word hypersexualized is referring to a toxic sexual environment. So if you look at a child and they look like a child, it's probably healthy dance. If you look at a child and they look like an adult, a mini adult, because we blurred the lines between childhood and adulthood because internet, media, pornography, and industry want to make money off kids at younger and younger and younger and younger ages.
That is just so...
It's pretty awful.
It is, but it's makes me mad.
Yeah, and I it's interesting. I have been so disturbed. That's again my motivation for finding out about dance and setting it up so that people can come and get the free resources. But I do want you to know, as you talk to people, you want to make sure that you talk respectfully and kindly, because we live in a polarized culture. And if you start shouting matches, people don't hear you.
No.
So I recommend, as you talk with people, you simply focus on research and education. And whether they're Christians or they're not, they're likely to be interested. If we shame them and demonize them, they tend to turn their backs and, won't hear it. So that's one thing about dance awareness that I think makes us a little bit unique. We protect children from hypersexualization. We're protecting the art of dance. We're creating free research materials to give adults informed choices so they know the differences between healthy and harmful dance. We engage in respectful conversations so people have some time to reflect and think, oh, that's right. If the research shows these kinds of outcomes, we need to make changes. And then I also like to communicate the connection between the public health issue of pornography and the hypersexualization of children in dance with bipartisan engagement. So we're pulling more and more people onto the dance team.
I love that because, we can have, like I have righteous indignation, but that's not going to really foster an actual conversation that could lead to understanding and realizing, that
That's right.
they were not seeing what the reality was. And just to be able to provide resources that give those statistics, and just even your simple, if they look like an adult, we got a problem. That is so simple.
Well, I have found that is a very simple definition, but it's amazing how many people come back to me and say, thank you so much for that definition. So you don't have to have a dance background to know that if a child looks like a child, it's healthy dance. If a child looks like an adult, it is not.
Wow. So tell us about your free resources on danceawareness.com, if you would.
I'd love to do that. We have a drop down called resources. We're very deep at danceawareness.com. You go to resources and you get the drop down. There's a free ebook. It's only 15 pages. What's a new trend in children's dance? How to choose a healthy dance studio, how to avoid a harmful dance studio, and then how to educate a dance studio owner about this with research. Now, I do have to give a shout out and again say that a lot of dance educators don't want to hypersexualize kids. It's parents that think it's cute. So I have to say it's everybody in the culture. There's just a large group of people that don't have a clue. So we have that. We have a dance newsletter that comes 3 times a year. We don't inundate you, but I'll tell you that dance newsletter has dance educators like me writing articles and experts from the National Center on Sexual Exploitation Coalition. And they write very deeply and well to educate people on this. We have research. We have 30-second spots you can send out on your own social media. We have a 20-minute film with me interviewing experts, national experts on this issue about the differences between healthy and harmful dance. we are right now running a campaign called Share Your Dance Story. We have the research that shows the negative outcome for children when they are exposed to adult sexual material. But we want to match that with some real dance stories of mostly young people in their 20s who were taking dance and put into a situation of being hypersexualized, and have them share their story. So that's happening right now. In fact, we start interviewing and filming those interviews next month. And so there's something for everybody. And by the way, if somebody has a harmful dance story, you can write it and just share it anonymously. So we want to honor people who don't want their name used. We have a Facebook page. We'd love you to come on and like us, right?
Absolutely.
And if I could ask your viewers to end their listening time with me with a challenge, and the challenge is this. We all feel overwhelmed, right?
Yep.
I can't make a change. You can't make a change. So we say, I guess I can't do anything. And that is a lie. If you share danceawareness.com and these materials, underscoring free folks, with 5 to 10 people in your relational world, you're going to make a huge difference. And you don't even have to speak and talk about it. I mean, we've got trailers that are 5 minutes that really set this issue out in a very clear way. We have longer ones. I have PowerPoints that you can download. You can give a presentation yourself. So we try to make it really easy, whether it's a newsletter, an ebook, sharing on social media. And I will tell you about a wonderful thing we're doing. I met a wonderful composer named Steve Seiler. He is the owner of a company called Music That Heals. And he has created a song called She Loves to Move. That's about healthy dance that we'll be releasing in a few months. It's being orchestrated right now and professionally done with singers. And so we're hoping to really lift up healthy dance because it's worship.
Right.
And then educate people about harmful dance because it's really harmful.
So you're not just ringing the bell saying, okay, everybody needs to be aware. You're providing solutions to this problem.
Yeah. And I'd like to invite any of your listeners to email me if they have questions. If they know someone or an organization that they think needs to be connected to me, I'd appreciate if you email me and let me know about that. I am very open to sharing this message because I want to protect kids.
Absolutely. So the best place to then find you, let's say social media or online, tell us where you're at, where you're most active.
Danceawareness.com, Mary at danceawareness.com, and then Facebook. You can easily go to our Facebook page. You can message me, but I'll answer you if you email me on Mary at danceawareness.com. So I would look forward to hearing from people that have listened here.
Well, and I just love, I mean, as I think through, you've got some young women who have come out the other side of this. I mean,
absolutely.
It's
God
abusive.
And actually, I'm on some trafficking groups. I'm writing a chapter in a new trafficking book that will be released in September, Voices Against Trafficking. See, dance is a portal.
Yes.
To groom children to be open and available to all these abusive outcomes, but also to be trafficked and misused in the porn industry. So, it's just something we all need to be aware of and step up to the plate.
Absolutely. And I love how God is using your experience and
which is healthy dance.
Yes, to expose the dangers and to actually provide a solution. And that's restoration. God is bringing restoration as you like shine the light on what it really is.
And we all know as Christians that that's God's, his purpose and what he does with us. He takes the inside out part and transforms it. And so it's a joy to see that. And Satan misuses all the gifts.
Well, and absolutely, and in reality, he's the enemy on this whole thing. We're not fighting
Right.
against flesh and blood.
Right.
It's principalities, powers, rulers of
You're
darkness.
exactly
So
right.
that's where we have to, like, when we actually have a conversation, realize, okay, this is the enemy at work. I do not need to, get all up in this person's face and shame them about what they're allowing in their child's life or whatever. It's understanding this is the enemy and we have everything we need to fight that battle, and because he's already victorious.
And John 10:10 says the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he is real good at it, but God's real good at redeeming.
Amen. Well, Mary, thank you so much for being with us today. It has been a joy just to hear your journey and hear how God is using you in this ministry. We support you 100% and just God's blessing on your ministry.
Thank you so much.
So thanks for joining us today on the Redeemed and Restored video broadcast, brought to you by me, Athena Dean Holtz, who happens to be a horse lover, and the Romans 828 bookstore, which is a division of Redemption Press, which is right down the street that way, around the corner, right here in downtown Enumclaw, where everything is happening. So I would love to have you review and share this broadcast with friends, family, and others who could use the encouragement. And if you know someone who might prefer the audio podcast version of today's episode, you can go over to redeemedandrestoredpodcast.com and share a link from there. So thank you so much for joining me today. See you next week right here on YouTube for another episode of Redeemed and Restored.